Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through fascinating sources, aiming to get you truly informed. Today, we're diving into a really extraordinary set of communications. These are messages from one individual, Graham Wilkins, sent to some very high-level government and military bodies in the UK and US. Our mission today, well, is to unpack his persistent claims of national security emergencies, widespread communication interference. We want to trace the timeline and really understand the core concerns he's trying so hard to convey. Okay, so let's get into this. The heart of it really is this one person trying repeatedly to report what he sees as critical national security breaches and pervasive hacking of his own communications. He's writing from Thailand, Bangkok, and Pattaya. And his background, director of Capstone Estates Limited, but also, and this seems important, previously an authorized person for London Underground Ltd.
Right, that LUL connection is key. It suggests a certain level of, prior responsibility or access within a critical infrastructure. What jumps out immediately from his messages is this consistent pattern, alleged communication failures. It's relentless. He talks about emails bouncing back, government contact forms just blocked, apparently, even auto phone calls getting rerouted. Like, he gives specific dates in May, June 2023, sending messages to the Prime Minister, the Home Secretary, and reporting problems getting through, no confirmations. He even attaches photos sometimes, proof, he says, of a blocked government website he tried to use.
Wow. So not just hitting send and hoping, he's documenting the roadblocks themselves. And it goes beyond just like technical glitches with emails, doesn't it? The content gets much more serious.
Oh, absolutely. It escalates quickly from my messages aren't getting through to specific national security concerns. For instance, he says he told the Rail Accident Investigation Branch about computer hacking on London Underground terminals way back in February 2022. And he apparently took pictures then, too, as proof. Plus, he claims the autophones, the internal phones at LUL stations. He says they were malfunctioning or calls were rerouted when he tried reporting security issues, specifically to the British Transport Police and the IOPC.
The Independent Office for Police Conduct.
Exactly. And crucially, he says he never got any updates on investigations. He keeps stressing how vital the tube network is for the UK's financial security.
That does sound incredibly frustrating, especially if you believe you have urgent info. So the big question is, how were these reports actually received, when he tried official channels?
Yeah, that's a central theme in his writings. He details trying to report, quote, urgent national security problems to the UK Ministry of Defence. He used hackerone.com. That's a platform many organizations, including governments, use for vulnerability reporting. It's their preferred partner, in fact.
Okay, so the right channel, supposedly.
You'd think so. But his reports about undelivered messages to the Royal Military Police, even a design flaw he spotted on the Army website, they were closed, marked as spam.
Spam, for national security warnings.
That's what he reports, Hackerone stated. No valid vulnerability. His reaction, documented in his messages, was that this was completely unacceptable. He actually states he suspected Hackerone might be acting against the UK national interest.
Goodness. So what did he do then?
He escalated. He says he then contacted the U.S. Department of Justice and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence about the Hackerone situation.
So being blocked by one system just pushed him to aim even higher, across the Atlantic this time. And the narrative keeps broadening, right? Particularly when he writes to the National Crime Agency.
It really does. To the NCA, he alleges personal hacking computer, claims he's a victim of multiple crimes. And this is where he starts expressing suspicion about MI5 involvement.
MI5, wow.
Yeah. He even brings up an incident where he says he was questioned about a Russian spy while his words illegally sectioned under the Mental Health Act. And this experience, he claims, led him to suspect MI5 might be under the sway of the Russian GRU, Russia's military intelligence.
That's a very serious chain of allegations. And it doesn't stop there. His later messages describe experiences abroad.
That's right. If you sort of connect the dots in his communications over time, he details what he describes as an extensive campaign of harassment against him in Laos and Thailand. Things like gang stalking, that term for perceived organized stalking by groups, physical attacks, items stolen. And he attributes this campaign to MI6 and the CIA, or perhaps rogue elements within U.S. intelligence.
Okay, so the alleged actors become international intelligence agencies.
And there's more. His communications also start to include information from an unnamed source. This source alleges COVID vaccine irregularities. The claim presented is that vaccines contain microimplants for remote human control using quantum computers and drones.
Remote human control.
That's the claim relayed in his messages. It's presented as part of a plan by something called the Firm, which he specifically links to the Windsor family to reduce world population. And he alleges MI5 and CIA complicity in this supposed plan as well. These are the claims laid out in his communications that he sent.
So we've traced this arc from reporting communication blocks to LUL hacking to MOD reports being flagged as spam, MI5 suspicions, international harassment claims, and finally, these quite extraordinary conspiracy theories involving vaccines and global plots. What's the main takeaway when you look at this whole picture, the sheer volume and, frankly, the escalation?
Well, I think what this deep dive really shows us is the immense challenge, the tension inherent in handling national security reports from the public. How do agencies possibly filter genuine, credible threats from what might be an overwhelming amount of, well, noise, especially when the person reporting feels ignored or blocked? That perceived silence or dismissal can, it seems, fuel increasingly elaborate theories. It's a real catch-22 for authorities, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you tell a real threat from maybe delusion when the reporting channels themselves are part of the complaint?
Looking at all this, what really stands out to you, it feels like such a stark example of someone believing they have truly critical information, maybe life or death stuff, but they just hit wall after wall trying to get it heard through the proper channels.
Exactly. And it highlights just how complex information verification is now. Yeah. We're in an age where anyone can put together these incredibly detailed, extensive accounts. Authorities then have this incredibly difficult job. You navigate that fine line between a credible threat and maybe an unsubstantiated, possibly escalating set of claims. And they have to do this while somehow maintaining public trust in those very communication channels. It's a massive challenge.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Consider those systems we have in place, the official channels for reporting urgent, confidential, potentially nation-critical information. How robust are they, really? Not just against, say, external hacking or interference, but against that internal challenge, the challenge of sorting the signal from the noise, discerning legitimate threats from what could be an overwhelming flood, without wrongly dismissing something vital.